Everyone, do you know when rates are coming down in Canada? I know that there's a lot of folks out there that are wondering when rates are coming down. And my whole goal for this episode today is to talk about when rates are coming down and also to share with you some of the predictions that some of the top financial institutions in Canada are making as to when these mortgage rates are actually coming down. I have this information ready to go for you. I've researched it all, and it's going to be a really awesome episode because I'm going to talk a little bit about why each prediction's happening and exactly why each lender's coming to that to that assessment. But essentially, I'm covering off about 7 lender predictions today, everyone, and I'll be talking a little bit about the next few rate hikes. Not rate hikes. I'm so in the rhythm of rate hikes. It's not even funny. But I'll be talking about the next few rate announcements, and I'll be talking a little bit about when they are happening and how they coincide to some of these lender predictions that have been made out there. So it'll be interesting to correlate those together. And we also had a recent federal rate decision made yesterday by the US Fed. And that's some really cool information that I'll be covering today as well on Canadian Mortgage Weekly, Canada's weekly mortgage news video podcast. And welcome to the show today. This is episode 170, everyone. So really big thank you to everyone who's been watching and supporting my show and following my channel. I recognize that you can't make every show, but I see every time you guys like something, share it, and really goes a long way in helping me keep going. And thank you for the client calls telling me how much you enjoy the videos as well. I'll also be chatting a little bit about Canada and its recent rate announcement that just happened a few weeks ago. I believe it was March the 6th there, 2024. Recapping some of that, as well as going into some of the stats today for Canada and how they are coming together when we look at, why are certain banks making these rate decision calls for rate decreases? What metrics are they using, and where are those metrics now? So really, thank you for joining me on this episode. If you're just joining with me today, this is episode 170 of Canadian Mortgage Weekly. We'll be talking about when rates are heading down today and really cool predictions here from some of Canada's top financial institutions I want to share with you all today. And in the meantime, if you need any mortgage advice, I'm a mortgage broker in Canada. Been financing real estate now for 14 years. You can always find me on social media and get in touch with me that way. So, as I mentioned, I have about 7 lender predictions here. I don't want to take too long to get into this, but before I get into that, when do you guys think rates are going to start falling? And what I'll do here is I have a poll. I want to do that on TikTok. If you are just joining me as well, I do have a TikTok channel, and you can find me there as well. And let's see if I can do the poll. I've done this before. Interact, poll, there we are. Okay, I'm not sure how to do a poll right now. I did it before, but I'll have to come back to that later, everyone, on TikTok. But essentially, when do you think rates are coming down? You can feel free just to pop this in the chat. Do you feel rates are coming down as soon as possible? And when I say as soon as possible, I'm talking about like the next rate announcement. We're looking at the next rate announcement being on April the 10th. Rates will come down then. That will be the next time that rates are decided. Rates are coming down then. And you know what? As a result, we will see lower rates going from April or even sooner if it's possible. Is that the camp you're in? Do you think rates are going to come down right away? Well, if they do, it's going to be a great spring market, I tell you that. All the real estate agents that you know of right now in your circle of friends, they are going to be so pumped about that news, because if rates do go down right away in April, There's going to be a lot of houses selling because there's a lot of clients waiting. And that's just the thing. What about, the summer of 2024? Are you in this camp? Do you think rates will start to fall maybe June or July of 2024? And if so, pop that in the chat below. I'd love to see your comment about when you think rates are coming down. If it's right away, like first thing, or the summer of 2024. And there are a few rate announcements over the summer. I have compiled them here for us today. We have one on July 24th. So that would be sort of the real summer announcement. But if we look a little bit earlier, there is one on June 5th. So we'll see if rates come down then. Or do you fall in the camp where you think, well, rates are not coming down at all in the spring market? They're not coming down at all in the summer market. Those markets are going to have enough going on their own. I feel rates are coming down, or do you feel that rates are coming down in the fall? And that would put you in the September, October category, November. And the rate announcements in September are on September the 4th. And then the next rate announcement, which would be the fall announcement, would be October the 23rd. So if you think rates are coming down in the fall, that would be sort of the typical timeline we would see those announcements come out. Or do you think rates are not coming down at all in the spring, summer, or fall? Do you think that rates are coming down at the end of 2024? Like we're talking like November, December, maybe even into the new year of 2025, but really not at all until the final, very end of 2024. Well, there's not really any rate announcements at the end of 2024. We have our last rate announcement of the year happening on December the 11th. So if rates were to go up, they really wouldn't go up, not up. Again, stuck in rate increase mode here, guys. If rates were to come down in the end of 2024, then we would have to see that announcement by December the 11th, which was the last announcement for the Bank of Canada there. So if you're just joining me here today, everyone, my name is Joe Bladek. I'm a mortgage broker. I'm out of Aurelia, but I deal with financing real estate now all across Ontario. Been doing that for 14 years. If you need any advice on your mortgage, make sure you reach out to me with my social media links below. And if you're just joining me here today, we will be discussing the 7 predictions I have here from financial institutions in Canada about when rates will start to fall. We've seen rate increases now in Canada for a number of years now. I can't believe I'm saying that, a number of years. We've seen the most aggressive monetary tightening cycle since the last 40 years. So that's some interesting news I got out of doing this research as well, is that rates have gone up so quickly and so aggressively in Canada that this has been the tightest monetary tightening cycle over the last 40 years. So as you're just joining me today, we're talking about the 7 predictions. So let's see here. Let's get into the first prediction. Do we have any people commenting yet? No one's commenting yet. Maybe on my Instagram. Anyway, so the first prediction here, RFA Finance is a big mortgage lender in Canada. They even have a first responders program. They have a first responders program where they actually provide anyone that is in the, not only first responders, actually frontline program, a nurse, health professional, a teacher, even a frontline worker, in that sort of thing. They provide extra benefits on your mortgage. So make sure you talk to your broker about RFA mortgage. But they actually are predicting that rates will start falling in Canada at Q3 2024. And what does Q3 mean? And before I say that, wow, there's a financial institution that thinks that rates are going to start falling in Canada and this year to boot. So the Q3, Q1 would be January, February, March. Q2 would be April, May, June. Q3 would be July, August, September. So RFA Mortgage believes that rates will start falling in Canada between July, August, and September. Which, if we look at those specific rate announcement dates, everyone, get your calendars out. We're looking at either a July 24th rate cut announcement or a September 4th, 2024 rate cut announcement. Those are the two rate announcements happening in the third quarter. All right. We got the first prediction out of the way, everyone, and still would love to see your predictions. Feel free to comment them in the comment box below. And as always, if you're just joining me here today, we're discussing the 7 predictions as to when some of the financial institutions in Canada and banks are thinking rates will come down. All right, so we have BMO next here. I was at a discussion held by BMO in the GTA just recently this week. Very informative discussion. BMO is talking about some really positive news for the housing market for 2024. And BMO is saying that rates will start coming down in June of 2024, which puts our second prediction a little bit earlier than the first. RFA Finance was Q3, which would be either the July or September announcement. But if we're looking at June 2024, that would be the June 5th, 2024 announcement, everyone. So mark that in your calendars. That is BMO, one of the leading finance institutions in Canada. Just recently actually came back to the mortgage broker space as well. So really awesome to see BMO. And I really enjoyed seeing the BMO booth yesterday when I visited that booth at the trade show there. Really awesome group of folks there at BMO. All right. We have our third financial institution here. And if you're just joining me here today, we're talking about when rates will start coming down in Canada. As you know, we've gone through the tightest monetary tightening cycle over the last 40 years. So for rates to come down is going to be huge news for the housing market. Housing market has been still going. I mean, prices did soften as we all saw, but still going. And that, can't believe it, but immigration is really helping with keeping the housing market where it's at. So we got First National. First National Financial is a AAA lender across Canada, and they offer mortgages to AAA credit clients. Some of the best rates out there. First National is predicting a rate cut in July of 2024. So there we have it, guys. We have 3 predictions out there. We have First National Bank with a rate cut coming in July of 2024, BMO with June of 2024, and RFA Mortgage of either, they say Q3, so that would either mean July, August, September. All right, and if you're just joining me here, we're talking about the 7 predictions I have here from lenders across Canada about when rates will start to come down in Canada. And we've gone through some crazy rate increases over the last few years. And with all these mortgages now renewing in 2024, 2025, 2026, it's going to be absolutely crazy to see what's going to happen with these individuals if rates do not come down. Because I am now seeing some folks that had some low mortgage rates 5 years ago come up for renewal and are facing mortgage payment increases of over $1,000 per month. And I actually have to call someone back after my podcast here today about they left me a message saying that their mortgage is going up at their renewal and they need to discuss their options with me. So I have busy days ahead because of this issue, and we need rates to come down. So if you're just joining me here today, we're talking about the 7 predictions I have from lenders across Canada as to when rates will come down. We'll do Scotiabank next, big red in Canada. Scotiabank saying at a lender panel that I was able to partake in, where we had different lenders chatting about the market and being asked roundtable discussion questions. Scotiabank saying that rates will come down in September of 2024. So they are pushing their prediction out the furthest to September of 2024 so far. So RFA quarter 3, which is July, August, September. BMO June, First National July, Scotiabank September. When do you guys think rates will come down? Do you want to enter it in the chat there? Would love to see. Do you think it's that these banks are telling some sort of valuable information here today? Is this actually something that we can count on? Do you think that they are completely out of touch where with rates will come down? Let's do another one here today. We will do Home Trust. And Home Trust is a B lender in Canada. They are a lender that has classically offered the classic mortgage product that really helps clients that have blemished credit, helps clients with self-employment. It's really an equity lender at some sorts, but if you have a business and you're running a self-employed business, or if you are a client with blemished credit, a lot of the times Home Trust will give you some of the best financing options, some of the most money based on your credit score and profile there. So you might be paying a little bit more on the interest rate, but you're getting so much more mortgage available to you that sometimes it's worth it to be able to use a lender like Home Trust, because they are able to make some additional dreams happen in a shorter amount of time. So Home Trust saying that they believe that rates will come down in Canada. Get this, guys, very aggressive, June of 2024. So Home Trust, I saw them recently as well. They are saying rates will come down June of 2024. That is some of the most aggressive rate announcements yet, because we have BMO also saying June, Scotiabank September, First National July, and RFA Q3, which would be either July, August, or September. So if you're just joining me here today, I've just gone over some of the rate predictions that the banks have in Canada as to when they believe rates will start their decline. And when I say start their decline, I'm not talking about rates coming down from where they are at today to where they were 3 years ago. I'm not talking about them coming down from 7% or 6% down to 1% today, because 1% was a time in our lives where I think if you didn't get any mortgages at 1%, that too bad. That time is gone, right? We've missed our opportunity, our window of opportunity. There would really have to be some cataclysmic events that would need to happen for rates to start coming back down that high. And recently on the Jerome Powell discussion there yesterday on March 20th, where they decided to keep rates where they are at in the United States because of various reasons, which I'll get to in a moment. He discusses this. It was a time where rates were unrealistically low, and that to get to lower rates again, they need to take a very cautious approach compared to before, because rates like that can actually hurt the economy in some sort of way in the long term. But okay, so we're getting into the top predictions here. We've talked about RFA Mortgage, we've talked about BMO, we've talked about Scotiabank, we've talked about First National, we've talked about Home Trust. All right. Now, I did talk with Equitable Bank, which is a big competitor to Home Trust, about when they believe rates will come down. And unfortunately, they gave me a no comment answer. They are firmly non-speculators there. Equitable Bank, good for you guys. I mean, I would have a hard time to not speculate. I have an opinion, which I will share in just a few moments here, as to when rates will come down. And then we have Manulife Bank. Do we still have time? Yes, we are only about 20 minutes in. If you're just joining me here today, We are on Canada's weekly national mortgage news podcast. My name is Joe Bladek. Thanks for watching. This is episode 170. We're talking about rates, when rates will start coming down in Canada. And we have one last prediction here today, and that's from Manulife Bank. And Manulife Bank, I saw them recently as well at that roundtable discussion that I saw Scotiabank at. We had Manulife Bank saying that rates will start to come down in June of 2024. So pretty awesome stuff. Another aggressive a lender here with when rates will start their decline. And when they start their decline, I'm not talking about rates going down from 6% to 1%, like I was saying earlier. We're talking about possibly rates coming down from 6% to maybe 5.75%, and then maybe a little bit further down to 5.5%, and then maybe a little bit further down to 5.25%, and then maybe a little bit further down to 5%. Some of these lenders have said that the speed of which rates will come down at will be very, very slow. So we're looking at, with the policy rate currently being at 5%, that we could possibly see a full 1% reduction by the end of 2024. I personally think that's a little bit aggressive, but a full 1% reduction would indicate 25 basis points times 4. So we could have 4 small rate reductions throughout the rest of 2024. As we discovered, these lenders are all predicting that rates will start coming down this year. RFA, rates coming down Q3 of 2024. BMO, June of 2024. I mean, Scotiabank, they have a very different prediction with September of 2024, with rates starting to come down, but that's still this year. And when we look at September versus June, it's not that far off, really, a few months. So with that, what do you think is going to happen with the housing market too? I mean, the housing market will just go crazy again. So we could start seeing these rate cuts over the summer market by the looks of it, or fall market, but summer market. And if it happens in the fall, happens in the fall, but essentially would ignite the fall market at that point to really, we would have a fantastic end of the 2024 in terms of higher sales volume, higher sales prices. So anyone that's looking to sell could do well. But if you're looking to buy, the thing is you want to get before that happens. So you want to get in before all the wave of folks that are coming in to get mortgages and coming in to buy a house happens. Because if you buy a house right now, I think personally that the market's kind of carved out its bottom with the real estate prices. So we could potentially see some real dovish activity with the housing market as we look at rates potentially going down in the middle to third quarter of this year. And if you get in now, prices are just set to start going up as soon as there's any sort of a surety that rates are going to be going down. And as soon as that cycle starts with rates going down, let me give you an idea of just how much of an impact this makes. If we look at the last few rate cuts in Canada, right? There was this stat we looked at. I think it was RMG Mortgages that shared this. So thank you, RMG. It was the vice president there. He was doing a presentation for us with the rate cuts. So let me just bring up this. Okay. So when we had a rate cut in 2020, was it 2020, 2019, 2020, because of COVID, the rates went down quite a bit. We had the policy rate drop from just under 2%, I believe it was 1.75, down to 0.25%. So a huge drop there. We had another drop in 2008, 2009. As you remember, the financial crisis around that time, we had a drop from a policy rate of just over 4% down to 0.25%. So such a large drop at that time as well. And that was one of the times the rates had dropped prior to that. Before that, we had a rate drop from 3% to 1%. So a 2% spread there. And before that one, another huge rate drop from about 5.5%. This was the early 2000s down to 2%. So over 3-point reduction there. So what I'm trying to say is that if we do see a drop, and especially this has been a very aggressive tightening. This has been the most aggressive monetary tightening policy in place since the last 40 years. So if it was very aggressive to tighten the policy, will we see a very aggressive of non-tightening? And that could be, a case to be made. But let's look at this. When we look at where rates are at now, policy rate sitting at 5%. They're talking about the policy rate being at 4% by the end of 2024, at 3% by the end of 2025. So that's possible. So that gives us a 2% reduction over the next year and a half. But based on the rate decreases in the past, I feel like we could have a more aggressive actuality of rate decreases. And that's just based on past experience, because typically in the past, it's not only been the Bank of Canada that has lowered rates based on economic activity, but there's also been some sort of catalyst event. In 2007, 2008, 2009, there was the housing market and the crash there. And in 2020, it was COVID. And in the 2000s, it was the dot-com bubble. So it was always some sort of catalyst. So if there is a catalyst attached to this as well, we could see a more aggressive lowering of rates if they do happen. And if you're just joining me now today, I was just chatting about the 7 rate predictions we have from lenders across Canada, leading financial institutions that have shared with us when they think rates will come down in Canada. So I'll just summarize them with you all today and give you some more background on some of these lenders, because you may not know some of these lenders. A lot of these lenders are accessible to Canadians only through a mortgage broker. So if you're looking for a mortgage broker, my name is Joe Bladek, and I've been in the business for 14 years financing real estate. You can always get in touch with me through any of my social media channels. So RFA Finance believe that rates are coming down in Q3 of 2024. Q3 is July, August, September, and that it puts us in a rate announcement territory of either July 24th or September the 4th. So RFA is a AAA lender, and they also have programs available for first frontline workers, so teachers, health professionals, that sort of thing. They have added benefits for mortgage holders. BMO coming out with June of 2024, rates coming down in June of 2024. There is a rate announcement in June. That would put us at June 5th, 2024. Really cool stuff there. Scotiabank coming out with a rate decrease prediction of September of 2024. There is a rate announcement in September. It's happening on September the 4th of 2024. First National coming out with a July 2024 prediction as to when rates will fall. That would essentially be the July 24th rate announcement if rates fall in July. Equitable Bank giving me a no comments on this answer. So we have no comment from Equitable Bank on this one. Home Trust, though, another leading B lender in Canada, giving a rate decrease prediction of June 2024. That rates will start to come down in Canada. And last, Manulife Bank. They have a really cool program, actually, Manulife Bank. If anyone's ever heard of the Manulife One account, it was heavily advertised a number of years ago. They still do it. It's an account where you put your mortgage and your bank account all in one. A really cool product, and you can actually even attach a line of credit to that. And it's all in one. It's really helpful as well if your mortgage balance is high and you also have a high interest rate. So in the market of high interest rates that we're in now, it actually helps save you some money. And you can always talk to your mortgage broker about Manulife Bank products. So June 2024 is when Manulife Bank is predicting rates will come down in Canada. So that's June of 2024. That puts us in the rate announcement territory for June the 5th. So what does that mean for Canadians right now? Well, the next announcement is happening on April the 5th. April the 10th of 2024. We should really not expect any rate decreases or increases or anything to happen on April the 10th. I'm anticipating that we will have our finance minister say that we're just still waiting for inflation to come down. I mean, inflation is only at 2.8%. It's been coming down very slowly, and we still need to get inflation down quite a bit, down to 2%. And with the rate announcement following April the 10th, we then have that big one here that a lot of banks are predicting rates will come down, and that's June the 5th. So we'll have to watch out. We'll have to see if June the 5th actually comes into fruition. That is the second rate announcement from now. We'll see if that happens. I don't think it's going to be that aggressive, everyone. I think we're still going to have our finance minister saying, you know what, guys, we're still waiting for inflation to come down. We're still waiting for things to happen. And this is even after reviewing Jerome Powell's comments from yesterday on the reason why the United States will not be decreasing rates yesterday, but they are predicting themselves 3 rate cuts in 2024. July 2024, I still think there'll be no rate cut in July. I believe the first rate cut will happen on September the 4th, everyone. I am in line with the Scotiabank prediction of the September 2024 on the 4th being the first rate cut. So if that's what's going to happen, it's going to be a great fall market. It's going to really put a lot of fire onto those people that have been waiting. And those of you who get in the spring market, I think you guys will be a little bit ahead of the game, because you'll be able to take out a short-term mortgage while the rates are a little high, well, higher than they will be, and buy at a time where prices are fairly low compared to where they will be next year. One of the things that came out of all these lender discussions that I was having was that they all believe, all 7 of these lenders believe, as soon as rate cuts start to happen, that prices will start to rise again, and that there's no real way to get around that. And that one of the ways that the Bank of Canada will prevent house prices from rising too fast, too soon, will be to limit the strength of the rate cuts. However, we'll have to see, we'll have to wait. As I mentioned, when rates are cut in the past, they seem to come down pretty sharply and pretty quickly. So that concludes our episode for today, everyone. My name is Joe Bladek. Thanks for joining me on Canadian Mortgage Weekly, Canada's only weekly video mortgage news podcast. And please follow my channel, like the video, share it. Would love to help others that you know that need a mortgage or whatnot. And just want to also share my little award I got yesterday. It's the Veris Award from Verico. So thank you, Verico, for this award. I've now been awarded. These are awards for things like production and where you stand with other mortgage brokers. So gotten these awards now for a number of years, and this represents the 10th year in a row of being recognized for an award like this. So yay, I love celebrating things like this, and I'll most likely be framing this one. So thanks all for joining me today. And if you have any comments, please reach out. My name is Joe Bladek. I've been financing real estate for 14 years and would love to assist you with what you need. You can reach me on any of my social media channels, and I'd be happy to start